I'm really curious about what your focus is, because you have sort of a handful of really big things going on, but last night you gave a new number about PlayStation sales. It's kind of mind-boggling in what I think is still kind of early into this new console.
We actually cleared sell-through worldwide, 35.9 million units as of the beginning of this month, and it continues to be among all the PlayStation formats the fastest growing in terms of the install base. So it's a great format for us.
And paraphrase it. In other words, the current PlayStation has grown faster than any PlayStation in history, faster.
Correct, because this is our fourth iteration of the PlayStation platform in terms of the home-based consoles that we have, and it is the fastest growing in terms of the number of units going out the door, cumulatively.
So what are the ramifications of that? I mean, when I think about the game developers and how they've suddenly got a much bigger market to sell into because that adoption curve has gotten a lot steeper.
That means that the bigger the installed base, the more opportunity there is for publishers and developers really to have their content be played by more PlayStation 4 users across the globe. And the faster we have the ramp up means there's a longer life for the platform as well, which means longer business for, PlayStation 3 is a great example. It came out in 2006. It continues to be a vibrant platform 10 years later. This year it's going to be its 10th year anniversary. So, these are platforms that if you do the things in terms of technology, bringing the right set at the beginning, you have a very long life with these products.
And one of the things being discussed a lot of this Consumer Electronics Show, as young as it is here in the early hours here in Vegas, is virtual reality. And I know that you guys have a virtual reality product.
PlayStation VR.
Talk to me about that.
Sure thing. So PlayStation VR is the virtual reality experience that we will be bringing to the PlayStation format later this year.
And it's going to ship later this year.
It's going to ship later this year. Obviously, the most important content that's going to be fueling PlayStation VR, of course, are the game content. And just to give you some context, we have more than 200 developers that have signed up for PlayStation VR, and about 100 titles are actually in active development at this time. So I think we can look forward to a good, vast library of catalog titles and content that's coming out that's going to be playing off of PlayStation VR as well.
How many Sony games do you think you'll develop, let's say in the next, I don't want to pin you down, but it's my job. In the next year, do you think, how many Sony games do you think will be ready for PlayStation VR?
Well, I think that we're going to have some additions to games that are already out in the market. Others will be built from the ground up. So it's hard to kind of pin down. But usually, just as a just a round number, usually first-party titles end up being about 20-25% of our overall mix, in any given generation. So
if you're talking about 100 games, you think about 25 games from Sony?
Give or take, just based on historical numbers.
Okay, I want to talk about TVs too, because TV is always a big focus of the Consumer Electronics Show. 4K is this year's focus. I wonder what the lessons that Sony has learned from the 3D offerings from a couple of years ago that you can take into 4K to have a more successful experience.
I think that, well, first of all, 3D continues to be something that's very big in motion pictures in the theaters. We continue to incorporate the functionality in all of our TVs. Even this year's TVs have the functionality. So it's really up to the content and whether the consumers want to use that functionality on TVs or not. I think with 4K, we just need to make sure that it's not just Sony with the TVs, but also that we have a lot of content providers who are actually producing content in 4K native, so that we are able to present that in native 4K to the customers as well. And based on my experience and what we're seeing at Sony Pictures Entertainment, there are a lot of content creators that are doing new products or new titles in 4K native.
It's interesting. It's first of all, it's incredible to see a 4K projection.
Absolutely.
So you guys announced a product called Ultra, an app that will stream 4K, but it's streaming only Sony Pictures. What are you going to do to get the other makers of content, the Universals, the Warner, and so on?
Sure. So we have, for Sony, it's all about consumer choice, and we also have a service called Video Unlimited 4K, and there we're streaming content not just from Sony but from the other studios as well. So that service is already available to customers, as they avail themselves to 4K TVs here in the United States.
And just as we're going high-res video, higher and higher res video, also high-res audio, very interesting business, one that you've got some investments in. Where do you see that coming to? Do you really think, because what we've seen in audio is interesting over the last, call it 20 years, where people have actually been willing to listen to lower quality audio, streaming audio and stuff,
as it
to
became
get the music
portable.
as they want, as it became portable.
Yep.
And do you see Spotify, Pandora, and so on offering high-res audio?
Well, I think that if you take Spotify, for example, users have the option of switching the audio quality,
right.
And there's the highest quality audio, extreme high quality, I think they call it.
But extreme high quality Spotify is not.
I think that that in itself is something that Spotify is offering, because they understand that some consumers really opt for highest quality audio, and at some point in time, if there's enough demand, I think they will start considering not 4K but high resolution audio as well. And based on research that we've done with portable audio device users across the world, a lot of them, one of the first things that they look for at this point is audio quality. So I think there's a resurgence, if you will, of a lot of people who are saying, oh, you know what, it's good to be listening to the same music, in better hi-fi than not.
And how is that more profitable for you? In what way?
I think that it's good both in terms of the hardware that we do, in terms of the Walkmans and the other high-resolution audio products, but at the same time, we're in the music business as well, and that means that we're able to repackage our old catalog into high-resolution audio and present that to the customers once again.
And but ultimately, you're going to need the distribution format beyond Sony. Yes, you're going to need Spotify, you're going to need Pandora, you're going to need Apple or whomever to really put out that higher quality audio.
And that really depends on the marketplace. In Japan, we have our own service where we do downloads of high resolution audio already. Other markets, we'll work with partnerships, with other companies as well. But I think it's all about making sure that in each of the markets that we do business in high res audio, that it's an easy access for the customers to get the music that they're looking for.
It'll be interesting to watch because it turns out music sounds good.
Music sounds good, and when you listen to high res audio, there's not really a lot of people that want to go back because it does sound a lot better.